Sure. So I had about 20 years working in industry supporting DoD clients. And about 2 years ago, I converted over to civilian service. So my background, I started out more on the communications and systems engineering side of things, and then moved my way into all of the tough consolidation projects. So I've worked on network consolidation, data center consolidation, and migration to cloud in the last 10 or 15 years. So I'm really excited to be working with HR transformation. It's so critical to what we do, and it doesn't often get the understanding of just how complex it is, and all of the facets that need to be addressed from a transition and a transformation capability perspective. So I grew up in a military family. So I was a Navy brat, lived all over the country. First started working as a consultant. I worked in NMCI doing data center consolidation. It wasn't actually anything that I'd honestly planned in my background, but having grown up with the Navy and really understanding a lot of the intricacies of the service life, I think it was a natural fit when I got the job opportunity, and being able to come in and really communicate with the stakeholders and understand some of the interests around why people sometimes want to hang on to their legacy technology, and I guess for lack of a better word, when I came aboard, understanding some of the challenges to family and personnel, and that we are in a lot of ways can be really antiquated in our technology. So understanding that people want to hang on to those legacy systems, not because they're resisting change purely, but because also this is part of what keeps the Navy afloat, and the sailors paid and everything running. Understanding that that's where their perspective is coming from really helps guide some of those tough conversations about making changes and gaining buy-in and building coalitions to be successful for change. So I think that it wasn't something that I had envisioned in my future necessarily, but once I started, I loved it.
Tell me a little bit about your educational background.
So I have an international relations degree from UCSD. Again, very interested in service from a young age, but not necessarily thinking I was going to fall into more of a technology delivery kind of capability until I did start working on that first consulting job with NMCI. So I went from working in a lot of service delivery type roles as I was before college, and as I was getting my degree. And as I took this first consulting job, there was a lot of background on I guess the political relations and background on policy that was really helpful to understanding the technical part of the job. I tell people a lot that it's rarely technology that's our challenge. A lot of times it's getting the people engaged and on board with how we make changes, or how to actually be successful in delivering transformation. So I guess that understanding the political and the policy side of things has helped, although it was not my initial intent going to school. Transformation is where you get to take the fun technology and actually get a group of people together to start doing things differently and get to the cutting edge, or get to being better, faster, more fun at how we do work. Ideally, it's something that actually takes the burden off of people for doing the job and lets technology do the work. So transforming things is where we take something that is maybe not doing the job that it should, and bring it into a new era or a new capability, where hopefully we're all actually able to focus on other areas and just let the technology do its job. The real trend in transformation is getting to information. So what information do we need to do our job? Why does the information matter? Being able to take that goal and not worry about what software or what system gets us there, but how do we get most quickly and most reliably to that information without worrying about the steps in between? And what can we automate so it's not somebody's job to go in there and push a button to figure it out? It's predictive. So we have technology in the future that is going to look at trends and understand that data that we're looking for and make it accessible and meaningful to people without having to go through as many steps from a system or a computer perspective to get that information.
What would be some of the life lessons that you have learned that have served you well and brought you to the point that you're at now in your career?
So I think one that I'm always striving to do a little better on is not to be afraid to ask for help. Um, Most people are very willing to help other people out, and you're not going to know it all, and you're not going to have every skill set, and it's not your job to know everything. It's your job to be able to connect with the people that can help put all the A's and B's together, to get us to get a product or to get a capability completed. So never be afraid to ask for help. Don't be shy to say, hey, I don't understand this, because it's a big complicated, in terms of 240, it's a big complicated program. The enterprise is very complex. And we live in a pretty complex world also. So it's never something to be embarrassed about if you don't understand something. So it's I think probably my biggest lesson is make sure that you ask for help when you need it.
Any additional life lessons you want to tag on to that?
I think from a leadership perspective and relating to coworkers and clients, a lot of times, understanding nobody comes to work really wanting to do a bad job. So what is, if you have a conflict with somebody, what is it that is driving that conflict, or where are you guys not seeing eye to eye, and take that what that person's reason for conflict is, and keep that in mind as you're trying to come to a resolution. I think with transformation, the best lesson I ever learned was, we're going there. Ideally, we're going there together, but we're going there either way. So understanding how to get buy-in and make people understand why it is you're making that change, and what they can expect, and setting an expectation. It can be really concerning to your end user or your client, or even somebody within your own organization, when big changes are coming, and giving them more information, and making them part of the process is so valuable in getting people on board to support your execution.
What is the biggest legacy that our organization is going to leave as a result of its efforts on the Navy?
Legacy of really being able to address the most critical part of our mission, which is making sure that sailors are taken care of and paid for their efforts, and have their benefits on a timely and appropriate basis, is, I think, a huge legacy of transformation once this is complete. Bringing learning and other educational opportunities to people's fingertips, and making it easier to do the job of making sure that they and their family are cared for, they have advancement opportunities, they're appropriately compensated. We would expect that in any industry job. You do a day's work, you get a day's pay, and being able to have that level of ease and care of our workforce is something that I think is a potentially a huge legacy for this program.
So tell me, in your career so far, you've accomplished some great things, and you're doing some very important work. What have you found most challenging personally in your career so far to make it to this point?
I think a big one that we often talk about, and I know personally I sometimes struggle with, is work-life balance. Ops tempo on this program is very high, and I think on a lot of programs it is very high. And there's always more work than there is day. So making sure that you are taking time for not only your self-improvement, but also there's a lot of studies that show we need time outdoors. We need time out of meetings. We need time to make intuitive leaps. That's how we get to not only our own wellness and our work-life balance, but it's how we start looking at problems differently and get creative in our solutions, is making sure that we have that time in the day or in the week to really disconnect for a minute and consider problems in a different way. So making sure that I practice what I preach to my team, which is to make sure that you are taking that time, disconnect from time to time, sometimes you will miss a deadline, and that does happen, and it's not the end of the world. That can be a tough lesson to actually execute on, but it's something that I'm continually working on, and I always tell my team to make sure that they're taking time for their own health improvement, and just that time to really consider problems in a different way without constantly multitasking and just trying to get to the shortest, easiest answer.